Welcome back to another episode of the Movie Dungeon. I'm your host, Dwayne the Flyers Nerd, you know. And today we're talking about Lanterns Episode 2. So let's go and get into it. Man, this show is continued to be great. Now, I know it's only 2 episodes, but listen. DC, take notes of your own shit. This is it right here. This is it. Well, we pretty much opened up with Hal waking up John with some water on his face. That shit, off the bat, I continue to love their chemistry between the two of them. You could tell how kind of, he does care about John and he wants John to succeed. But at the same time, he is still threatened. He is still worried about his position. Why, John is hand selected by Guardians pretty much instead of getting it the old-fashioned way. So, he still has his little problems, but I still love their little banters and shit that they do throughout this whole episode too. John is able to construct a bird as during little moments as he's trying to fly. Since he can't fly, he created something that can fly. But once the ring had left his finger, the construct was still there. And the ring had powered down, and the construct was still there. In fact, he was able to hold the construct throughout the whole episode with this bird following him. And that right there shows how strong John really is. Now, is this why the Guardians hand selected him? Who the fuck knows? Probably. His willpower is probably uncomparable, But he does demonstrate that, and Hal pretty much can see that, and it kind of worries him even more. Like, fuck, this dude is fucking strong. He's doing some shit that, I can't even do. But John doesn't end up flying, but Hal does send John to go collect his lantern so he could charge up the ring. But meanwhile Hal is investigating more of the alien murders and stuff like that. This dude ends up going to the morgue, taking out dead bodies, and he takes them to the field, the football field, and he goes through the metal detector, and just to find out it's not looking for metal, it's looking for aliens. So it's detecting who's alien going through. Later on, Hal goes to a town hall, and the same metal detectors, or the same detectors, I should say now, are present there. Picking up with John gets beat up after he collects the lantern in Hal's suit from the house and feeds his pet, Earl, this plant. Which is funny. It's a little carnivorous plant. You gotta watch that shit. But yeah, he gets beat up and he gets kidnapped, and pretty much the group of people that kidnapped him, which I believe that they're aliens or something else. But they end up telling John what's going on and how they're after the Manhunters as well, and how they believe one is present and in this town. And they pretty much didn't want to fuck with Hal, so they went to John instead, right? In between that, we did find out that Hal does keep his lantern in a pocket dimension. Now, I want to say, James, I fuck with you in a lot of aspects, bro. Why do you keep doing pocket dimensions for like everything? Like, I'm scared to when we get to like these earthbound or basic heroes that they even have pocket dimensions. I mean, shit, Peacemaker had a pocket dimension, and that dude isn't known to have, like, besides his helmets, right? He isn't known to have all these crazy ass technology. He's not Iron Man. Okay, he's not fucking Iron Man, but he had a fucking pocket dimension that he's family so-called found, whatever. But needless to say, pocket dimensions is fucking everywhere. We also learned that the female deputy, pretty much the only deputy in the show, she names dropped Gotham because she's a transfer from there. And I was like, oh shit. Last episode, she was on the phone for somebody when she was at the police station when she had arrested Hal. Now I'm like, damn, now she's coming from, if she's a transfer, that means she's coming from Gotham PD. Who is she talking to on that phone? Or does she know anybody that is important, like Barbara Gordon, you know, and stuff like that, which I would say she's more close to, you know, the women and stuff like that, and Barbara Gordon taking over as you know, maybe her father became Commissioner Gordon and stuff like that. So that stuff is cool. I'm loving the name drop, you know, just every time they say Gotham, it's like it bring chills down my body, and it's just like, God damn it, just give me fucking Batman already, dude. Give me Batman already. It's freaking ridiculous, bro. But yeah, so when John links back up with Hal, you know, John pretty much tells him everything that he's heard from these other group of people, which, prediction alert, I think they might be the Red Lanterns. I think the leader of it might be Atrocitus, and we come to find out during that conversation, actually, that the aliens at the field were a part of his little group, and they're kind of sent to be investigated, and somebody took them out. Bum, ba, da, ba, bum. I'm starting to think the cowboy people are the real aliens and the real threat of the show. You know, they fuck around, might be the Manhunters. His employer might be the Manhunter. And these other aliens that, you know, how there was an interrogation room that blew up, maybe those are the Red Lanterns. And, you know, Red Lanterns are all about vengeance and war and stuff like that, because they represent anger. So hopefully that's a cool little spin. I did hear some rumors that the cowboy alien dude, if he's not an alien, could be the first black lantern, like Black Ring Lantern. And I was like, ooh, that's, you know, I think that's death. So that's very fucking interesting. But yeah, picking back up towards the end, John finished telling Hal what went down or whatever. John goes inside. Hal decides to suit up, even though he was kind of mad that, you know, John brought the suit. He suited up and he flew. And I want to talk about that little part. Now, I love the way the suit looked in that lighting. Now, when John had it back at the house, you know, that brown did stand out. And I still love the suit. I'm still advocate for the suit. But that little shit brown did stand out pretty bad. But needless to say, he wore it and he took off, and I'm glad to see that we're finally going off the planet, even if for a little bit, even just for a second. You know, he shot over really fast to another, like, planet. It turned out to be like a prison planet, an alien prison planet. And he had to go speak to the one person that he knows about Manhunters. And he's not going to go to the Guardians because, you know, Hal wants to keep this off the books, off the radar of them. So he's going to go to somebody else. And who does he go to? Fucking Sinestro. He goes to Sinestro. And pretty much that's how the episode ends. It pretty much ends with that. So, you know, Hal finna go see, you know, what's up with these Manhunters through Sinestro. And let's see if Sinestro really helps him. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure he will. You know, so what I've heard, that none of the other colors of the rings of the other lanterns have been created. So this show most likely is going to show the creation of all these other lantern colors. Thus the show called Lanterns instead of Green Lantern. Right. So like the lady said in the first intro of the first episode, Earth didn't even know it had a lantern, and Hal's his first Green Lantern. So, you know what I mean? I do think that the alien that gave Hal his ring, or the ring chose Hal from that alien, I think he was carrying a Manhunter as prisoner, and it crash landed, and that Manhunter is now out, which is now the employer of the cow aliens, could be, and the Red Lanterns were trying to fight because Manhunters did wipe out the Red Lanterns population, like their people. So it only left them with about 5 or 6, and the people in the room that was with John beating his ass and then showing him what was going on, it looked about like 5 or 6 of them. So, you know, I'm really down for that, for Atrocitus to come through. Red Lanterns, I'm hoping they do create the black ring. And this time jump, I'm glad they kind of stayed a little focused in this one little time period. I'm glad. I thought they were going to do a little bit more flippy floppy throughout throughout the whole season, throughout each episode, but no, they took their time, and I appreciate that a lot more. Yeah, man, another A+ for a fucking DC show. Who'd ever fucking thunk it, right? Yeah, DC always got shows on lock. They got shows on lock. CW, I'm looking at you. But yeah, no, jokes aside, what you guys think of this episode, let me know in the comments. I thought it was fantastic. I'm probably gonna rewatch it again just for the fuck of it. But this is the Movie Dungeon. I am Dwayne the Flyers Nerd, you know. Peace.